Did you know the risk of dying from a heart attack is climbing for Americans under 55? Younger adults are dying of severe heart attacks at rates not seen in decades. Why is this happening and what can we do? In today's episode, we'll break down the numbers, explore the hidden risk factors, and share what you need to know to protect yourself. Imagine in one 8-year old hearing about myocardial infarction or vascular occlusion, big words, but think of them as traffic jams in your body's most vital highway. We'll move from cause to consequence to solution in 3 acts. Ready to rethink what you thought you knew about heart health? Let's jump in. Let's start with the numbers. Between 2011 and 2022, the proportion of adults aged 18 to 54 dying in hospitals from their first severe heart attack jumped by 57%. That's not a typo, 57%. Now, you might be thinking, isn't heart disease mostly an old person's problem? Traditionally, yes, but this new data flips the script. We're talking about severe heart attacks, clinically termed STEMIs, where a heart artery is completely blocked. Think of it like a dam on a river. When the flow stops, everything downstream suffers. This study, with nearly 1 million patient records, shows the trend isn't a blip, it's a warning. Why are we seeing a reversal in progress just when medicine is making leaps? Diving deeper, most of those who died were men over 3/4. In fact, and 71% were between 45 and 54. But here's the twist: women who had severe heart attacks died at higher rates than men. That's a paradox, right? If you're picturing heart attacks as a man's disease, the reality is shifting. Epidemiologists call this a hidden cohort effect, where group risks change in ways the old models don't catch. Imagine a safety net with holes, letting through people who were supposed to be protected. Why are women dying at higher rates? Could it be overlooked symptoms, or is there something else at play? Let's talk risk factors. The study pinpoints the big players: diabetes, chronic kidney disease, high cholesterol, drug use, and smoking. Over 60% had hypertension, high blood pressure, which I like to call the silent amplifier, making other dangers worse. Picture high cholesterol as sticky sludge clogging up a drain, and diabetes as a corrosive force weakening the pipes. These aren't isolated issues, they interlock, raising risk exponentially. Socioeconomic status, another technical term, but think of it as the resources in your health toolbox also shapes outcomes. If you're low income, you may skip checkups, delay treatment, or miss preventive care. It's a web, not a single thread. Let's zero in on women. A new report projects that by 2050, nearly 60% of adult women will have hypertension, up from 49% in 2020. That's a massive shift. More women in the study had diabetes, obesity, or chronic kidney disease and were of lower income. These are compounding factors that act like a perfect storm. Now, you might be asking, why aren't these risks being caught? Historically, women's symptoms are more likely to be dismissed or misattributed. Classic heart attack signs, chest pain, shortness of breath, can appear differently in women, leading to missed opportunities for early intervention. Are we listening closely enough to the warning signs? Here's the puzzle. With decades of medical innovation, why are young and middle aged adults dying of heart attacks more often? We have stents, better imaging, and clot busting drugs. Think of them as emergency road crews for your arteries, and yet the death rate for severe first heart attacks is up. Dr. Mohan Satish calls this an epidemic of cardiovascular risk. Is it lifestyle? Is it access to care? The answer seems to be both and more. It's a collision between progress in treatment and regression in prevention. If our safety net is fraying from both ends, can better medicine alone turn the tide? You might be thinking, but I'm young, I run sometimes, and I eat okay. Am I really at risk? The truth is, risk accumulates, often invisibly. Chronic stress, poor diet, lack of exercise, and substance use all add up. Now layer on the barriers. If you can't afford to see a doctor or can't take time off work, small problems become big emergencies. The social determinants of health, as public health experts call them, operate like invisible walls between people and care. It's not just about personal choices, it's about opportunity, environment, and support. How do we bridge those gaps? Here's a sobering fact: at least three-quarters of severe heart attacks in these younger adults were first time events. Why is that so dangerous? With a first heart attack, there are no warning flares, no chance for previous care to harden the arteries or build up collateral circulation. Imagine a city grid suddenly losing all its power systems fail all at once. The technical term here is ischemic cascade, where damage compounds rapidly. With no previous symptoms, both patients and doctors are caught off guard. Are we underestimating the silent buildup happening in young bodies? So, why are so many young adults getting missed? Dr. Sadia Khan points to risk calculators, useful tools that can drastically understate 30-year risk if you only look at the next decade. Have you ever used a risk calculator and thought, well, my short term risk is low, so I'm set? That's a false sense of security. The underlying condition, atherosclerosis, or artery hardening, can simmer quietly for years. Early detection is key, but awareness is low. Young people, especially women and those in low income communities, slip through the cracks. How do we shift from complacency to vigilance? First, severe heart attacks among adults under 55 are rising fast, especially for women and those with chronic conditions. Second, risk factors like diabetes and hypertension act together, increasing danger exponentially. Third, early detection and prevention are vital, but many young people remain unaware or underserved. Here's your action step: visit the American Heart Association's website and use their 30-year risk calculator. Don't wait for symptoms. Remember, your health's not just your heart, it's your life. Share this episode with someone you care about, and let's keep the conversation going.